Look, I know it's preseason, but the Jaguars absolutely demolished the Atlanta Falcons 31-0. Shutout, baby. Now, as always, this video is brought to you by the #1 sportsbook in the industry, BetUS. And with the next 2 weeks, it's a lot of like dead zone period, not a lot of NFL news coming out, but it is a fun time to be able to put down some bets on NFL futures. And I know me, I usually like to do some like long shots and some that I actually feel pretty confident in. So one cool one is that you can actually bet on the exact Super Bowl result. And for me, I'm always going on Jaguar. So I thought, look, 25 plus 25,000 on the Jaguars beating the Lions. Might as well just put $10 on that. That's going to potentially net you $2,500. And also, one line that's kind of interesting is that, look, BetUS actually does not believe that the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs. They're at plus 120 right now. So I'm going to make them regret that. I'm putting $50 down for the Jaguars to make the playoffs. So $60 down with a potential to win $2,560. You know, I thought this was something like fun to do. And if you guys want to get involved, you guys can match this one or, you know, look at other stuff. There's a lot of other options and bets out there that we'll go over really in the next couple of weeks as, you know, we put down some money on NFL futures. BetUS is going to offer a 125% deposit match with my link down in the description and pinned comment. That is a 125% deposit bonus, meaning that if you put $100 down in your account, you're going to see $225 show up in your account. So shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video and this channel for the season. Now let's get into this recap. Now, obviously, the big victory that you look at is the scoreboard, 31-0. You know, Jaguars kind of dominate the Falcons, albeit against second stringers and third stringers, whatever. But the main thing was that cleaned on the injury sheet, okay? That's the big thing when you're looking at preseason games. Do you play starters? Do you not play starters? Really, the only downside to ever really playing starters is the risk of injury. And, you know, a lot of coaches in the NFL these days are very, very scared about playing starters just because, you know, they don't want to suffer any injury. I know there's one hit that Trevor Lawrence took where, you know, defensive lineman went low, ankles got caught up a little bit, but, you know, Trevor Lawrence went up. He's just fine. So Trevor Lawrence, it's going to take a lot to bring him down, okay? But other than that, you know, really cool on that end. But, yeah, the Jaguars, for some reason, the Falcons, they didn't play their, like, I can understand not playing Kirk Cousins, but why are you not playing Michael Penix? I don't understand that one. Like, he's supposed to be redshirting. You know, this is some potentially valuable, you know, time for him. You know, he needs some real NFL action, but Raheem Morris decided against it. So I guess, I mean, I don't trust Raheem Morris yet as an NFL coach, but we'll see how that goes. But with the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence or Doug Peterson said 2 quarters out of the starters, but it only took 2 drives for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the offense was awesome. I mean, like I said, 2 drives. The first drive went for 9 plays, 92 yards with 5 minutes and 11 seconds time of possession and a touchdown. Okay, the Jaguars went downfield, converting third downs, you know, went into the red zone and got a touchdown to Evan Ingram. So that was a really fun way to start off the game. And then the next drive, the Jaguars went 13 plays, 62 yards, 6 minutes, 28 time of possession, and again, touchdown pass to Evan Ingram. So we saw 3rd down conversions. We even saw a 4th down conversion. You know, Jaguars actually ran it and were able to get a couple yards. So, man, it was awesome. It was awesome. And I know, you know, me live streaming a game and, you know, if you look at Twitter, everyone was like, okay, we're fine. We don't need to see any more starters. And the Jaguars did exactly that. The defense did wind up playing the whole entire first half, but the Jaguars offense, just 2 drives was good enough for them. Got plenty of plays under their belt, 22 total plays offensively. I think that's good. And we saw, honestly, we saw exactly what we wanted out of this offense. And, you know, a lot of times you don't get too high and too low, and we're not going to get too high on this, but I will say, you know, I'm feeling a lot more neutral about, you know, Jaguars going out there and scoring, getting 2 long touchdown drives, as opposed to if the Jaguars went out there and got like 2 3 and outs. You know what I mean? Of course, we don't want to sit there and, you know, get too high or too low, but I will say I might be a little bit low if the Jaguars were not able to move the ball or anything against a backup defense and the Atlanta Falcons. So Trevor Lawrence's game was incredible. 8 for 10, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And, one of his incompletions came on was getting pressured, just kind of threw it up. Maybe Gabe Davis could have made a better effort. And then one of his incompletions was one of his better throws of the game. Got it right to Gabe Davis where only he could catch it when there was a little bit of traffic. Would have been a tough catch, but, the old saying in the NFL, you're an NFL wide receiver getting paid millions. The ball hits you in the hands, you catch it, okay? So Gabe Davis, probably not a very good game for him. 2 targets for 0 catches. But, of course, it's preseason, so, we'll judge him a little bit more harshly in the regular season. But it was no harm, no foul because the Jaguars were able to get 2 touchdowns. And of course, Evan Ingram got both of them. Evan Ingram finished the game with 4 receptions, 4 yards, 28 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And look, man, this Trevor Lawrence to Evan Ingram connection going into year 3, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So Trevor Lawrence was awesome, 80% completion percentage. And he was moving around the pocket. The Jaguars, I think, did a nice job offensively of playing a balanced attack. They're running the ball, passing, they were play actioning. They really opened up a lot of the playbook, I thought. So Travis Etienne, 7 carries for 46 yards. He was having, there were some tough yards there, but a lot of times in the run game, it's, 1 yard, 3 yard, 2 yard, then you're going to pop for 10 plus yards. It's kind of how it goes. And, we're judging everything off 2 drives, but if you're to extend it out for a game, maybe sometimes in the first half, you're not getting much movement. And then in the second half, all of a sudden you're breaking free a bunch. We saw that a decent amount at the beginning of the 2023 season before all hell broke loose. But yeah, that was cool to see. And also Brian Thomas Jr. Look, Brian Thomas Jr. has had 1 catch in each of the preseason games. The first one was a long ball on the sideline. That was really cool from CJ Beathard. The second game, he caught a toe drag swag on a really nice route on the sideline from Mac Jones. And in this game, one reason why I wanted to draft Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round wasn't even because of his deep ball ability. It was more so also that he can be a horizontal player too. Okay, I think he's a guy that can catch the ball in a slant route and take it 60 yards to the house. In this game, taking advantage of a play action, caught a ball over the linebackers. So he himself had his 1 catch of the game. Had actually the most receiving yards of any Jaguar receiver this game, just on that 1 catch. 1 catch for 38 yards. And Brian Thomas Jr., man, we've seen so little of him, but I think we're all very excited for him. I can't wait. I really can't wait. Looking good in that number 7. He's got, the body type and everything for it. Could probably afford to put on a little bit more muscle, but, when in doubt, draft an LSU wide receiver, and a lot of times you're going to end up being good. So, other than that, Elijah Cooks had a pretty good comeback game. 2 receptions, 23 yards, 1 touchdown. That touchdown was good right at the end of the half. Mac Jones continues to be really good. 13 for 18, 82% completion percentage. No, I think that's actually 72. Yeah, 72% completion percentage, sorry. 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He was surgical. Look, the Jaguars were 7-point favorites this game. And I was telling everybody, guys, put money down on the Jaguars because, the Jaguars dominate in the preseason. 6-0 in the last 2 preseasons and 6-0 against the spread. And Doug Peterson likes to win these games, so that was an easy one for me, especially when you have a really good backup quarterback. So, yeah, the offense overall, Parker Washington, of course, continues to impress. 4 receptions for 35 yards. It's fun to see him go out there and do some work. And Austin Trammell is a guy that keeps popping out. I don't know if he's going to have a place on this roster. I would probably doubt it just because I don't think he offers the kind of special teams ability and just the type of wide receiver and the type of blocking ability that they're going to want out of their wide receiver 6. But you guys can argue with me on the comment section about that. Of course, I think he has a place on the practice squad, but I just don't see him getting on the actual roster. But other than that, on the defense, and this is one thing about preseason, we don't really look as much about team performance, more so individual performance. Chad Muma had a pretty good game, 3 tackles. He was out of breath. He was all over the place. Ronald Darby, allowed some, like when you look at the cornerback play, people were kind of getting frustrated because, there were some 10 to 15 yard completions out there. But, when you're on the other half of the field, I don't think you're clamping as hard. And then we noticed that like once Atlanta got past the 50, they weren't completing anything. So it felt like Ryan Nielsen and them were like giving them some cushion out there on the other side of the field. But then once they crossed the 50, things got a little bit tighter. So that's one thing that I noticed. Trayvon Walker had a good game. He got a sack and he was getting some pressures. Tyson Campbell got himself a few pass breakups. He was very, very easy to see out there on the field. And Mason Smith showed himself early, had himself a nice pressure before Heineke somehow slipped out of it. Also, our other rookie defensive tackle, Jordan Jefferson, had himself, tipped the ball up in the air. So overall, defensively, I thought it was a good game. The Jaguars starting defense played the entire first half, and the Falcons got, I think, like 98 yards total. So that was pretty good from the Jaguars defense. And overall, I mean, the Jaguars way outgained the Falcons, 412 total yards versus the Falcons, 157. Also, time of possession, the Jaguars possessed it 39 minutes versus the Falcons, 21 minutes. Jaguars 8 of 14 on third downs. The Falcons were 1 for 10 on third downs. So the Jaguars, dominated them all over the field. And, it feels like the Jaguars' backups are pretty good too. And one thing that I've been pretty impressed about is the discipline of this team. Like, it feels like we're not getting, even like when the third string line goes in there, like we're not getting the false starts and, we're not getting the dumb penalties. And it feels like this team is very well coached. I'll say that. Like, I don't know how much better our third stringer. Like, it doesn't really matter if our third stringers are better than their third stringers. That doesn't really matter. But one thing I'm looking at is like, okay, how disciplined are they? How much are they executing the playbook? Like, because a lot of that comes down to coaching, and it feels like the Jaguars have like pretty good coaching. So, with that said, not much else I really want to say. The Jaguars have roster cutdowns coming up, so deadline for that is Tuesday, and we're going to see stuff trickling. I don't even know today. Definitely, I would imagine Sunday you're going to see a bunch of cuts. Maybe even the rest on Monday. Like, I would doubt they're cutting anybody on Tuesday. I would think that they have everybody cut at the very least by midday on Monday. Maybe even Sunday. Maybe they want to make all the roster cuts by Sunday because they pretty much know who's on the team. So maybe on Monday they can come into the office fresh and start game planning for Miami, which is going to be in 2 weeks. So, yeah, we'll just stay tuned to that. And with all that said, that's all I got for you guys. Quick little recap here. Really excited for the regular season. Enjoy these next 2 weeks. Labor Day weekend is next week. Enjoy your extended weekend. And it's about to get really, really fun on this channel. And I hope you guys are all down to join me and for this rest of the season, as I think it's going to be a pretty fun year. And I think we're going to see a really good Jaguars team. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please, on your way out, drop a like. And also shout out to BetUS. 125% deposit bonus down below, up to $2K on your first 3 deposits. And I will see you guys next time. Go Jags.